work session to order. Thank you everybody for coming on April 18th, 2022. This is the work session for the town of Sharpsburg. We do not have a quorum, however, we do have a couple of things on the agenda to talk about. First thing is Crossroads Church. They have reached out to us offering some volunteers for a community service project in late May. I was going to bring it to council and look for recommendations or suggestions from them, or of course from a public or anybody else that would like to provide input. We don't really have any, we don't have too many parameters on the project, but just looking for project ideas. One of those is being the entrance signs at the gateway locations around Sharpsburg. Another one would be possibly making a footpath from the community center up to the library, and then whatever else people would like to suggest.
Well, they could go in there with trimmers and whatnot, and clean up the lot between the library and Tommy's.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yep.
You do that and address that. Is there still a big pile of stuff behind the fence?
It is, but I don't know that that's on town property.
I don't care.
Well, I mean, I do. If it's private property, we can't just go trapezing on there.
I bet we could.
Well, we could.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
talk loud.
Talk loud? Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness.
It's not just my hearing, I found out, because my camera didn't pick you up either.
Oh. I did that to a friend
I
of
get
mine.
the message.
I've got a friend. I have a friend in California who spent his in the turbine room of submarines, and he was deaf as a post. And we'd sit out by his grill, a buddy of mine and I. We'd sit there talking. All of a sudden, we just kind of, and he wouldn't know the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Once in a while, he'd catch us, and get pissed off.
But the thing is, I can hear everybody but you and Stan.
I mumble.
And I noticed.
I mumble.
But I thought I was hearing impaired, so I wasn't going to complain. But since I found out it's not my ears.
Well, Blue,
Oh, no, it's him.
Blue, are you asking if it's me? Are you asking for ideas? For
Yes.
this
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Yeah, I wanted to put it out there. I mean, obviously, we have a couple of things that we know need to be done, but I wanted to seek input from council before.
Now, is this going to be a pile of people that's just going to walk
yes, sir.
around? And
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. We're going to have up to 30 to 40 volunteers that could help us out.
can they use tools?
I would imagine the majority of them could.
Will they have tools?
Possibly. Yes. We wouldn't be asked to provide them.
This is the Crossroads Church?
Mm-hmm.
We ever get our signs about the trucks?
No, sir, we didn't.
Do we ever clean the signs through town? Clean the mold and mildew off of them?
Mm-mm.
That's one thing you can do, is go and bring some Clorox and some rags and wipe the signs down.
Okay.
I mean, that's
Just as general refresh.
well. If you use bleach and a spray thing of bleach, just spray it on there and walk off, and it knocks all the mold off.
Strip down. Okay.
And you've got that on a lot of the signs.
Just don't use straight bleach.
No.
50-50.
50-50.
50-50 is what you want to use. That'll clean anything. If that's, if something like that's not going to hurt somebody.
Right.
You could put one of those, like push brooms on the end of the extension pole, spray it and just kind of
Do that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That way it's not dripping on them, because I know the signs are 6-7 foot high.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Well, you don't want to get bleach in your eyes.
Yeah, put it on a pole, that way you're not dripping.
Signs.
I think they're looking for one bigger
Thing like your
like one of the entrance signs.
Could they do it justice?
I can talk to him and ask.
I mean, because you wouldn't want to just put something up that was just halfway.
Right.
You want to put something
Right.
up that looked good and that was going to be there.
Mhm.
We're talking about a welcome sign to the city at the 3 major entry points.
Yep. 54 and old, or 154 and old 16, Tarrantine and 54 South, and then North 54 coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably those three.
Yeah.
And two, if I.
Maybe another one, maybe on 16 out there towards, where we've got where we just added those people from the to the town.
Mm-hmm.
Coming in from Noonan.
Yeah, okay. So what I'll do is I'll go back and take some of these ideas and reach back out to their contact and just, float it and see what they say.
Okay.
And then by the time we come back here for the May meeting, I'll have a little bit more information.
Let's get some of the men to dig a hole, put some saccharin in it, and put that library kiosks.
Oh, yes, I like that.
Williamsburg. I say Williamsburg or Wellsburg, either one. Williamsburg Station. That's urban renewal.
That's all of it. All right. Okay. The next item on the agenda. Do y'all have any ideas, projects? Anything? Okay. The next thing on the agenda that has come up is sidewalks. Miss Polly had an email in to Floyd, was it last week? Week before last week?
I wasn't going to be able to be here, and when I saw sidewalks on the agenda, I changed my plans.
Oh, well, thank you. You didn't have to do that. But basically, what I think I want to do is talk with a couple of contractors and just figure out it's going to cost X amount of dollars to do a sidewalk from here to here, X amount from here to here, and then we can just go back and make a decision of where we want to put the sidewalks. We keep kicking around the sidewalks, but we never get specific enough with the location to take the next steps. I think we just kind of pick out the most likely areas and get some quotes and say, how much can you do sidewalks for? And then once we get those prices, we'll just come back and say, here's the list. Where do y'all want to go? We have this much money.
One of the first working sessions we had, there it was just me and the new guy. What's his name? Max? No, Alex. We talked about that, and I don't know if you were on the phone at the time or not, but what do you do? Do you extend the ones you got, or do you go ahead and go up Main Street east with one, or do you go down Tarrentine to the south with one, with the idea of spoking them out from the middle of the town?
I would almost like to see us add one along Main Street and then come down south heading towards the triangle. And then actually I was looking at it the other day. If we have enough, I think we have enough width to do a sidewalk down Main Street, all the way down to the railroad track, come down the railroad track, beside the railroad track where it's open, and then connect on the back end of the back parking lot. So we basically make one big loop from the container all the way around the park, up to Main Street, all the way down Main Street, down the railroad track, and then back up to the container. Eventually, I don't think that should be the first one that we do out there. I'm thinking Main Street or Tarrentine.
I'm glad you said that, because Angie saw, and I've been in the yard a lot lately, and I told you I already seen a lot of people walking. And I was out there a couple of 3 days ago, and I saw an old lady, not old as me, but older, and a child walking I'd never seen before. And then coming back, they went to the church. So they had to walk in the road. They lived down this way. They had to walk on the road all the way, cross that busy highway, and then walk. They didn't choose to cross the highway.
Right.
They walked the grass up this way, and then again coming back. And Ann just saw them and stopped. I think she probably offered them a ride. But the people are walking that now. And I don't know which side of the road you would choose to put it on. But I think it does need to go this way.
Yeah, from Main down to 54. And then eventually, I'd like to be able to see us do some kind of pedestrian crossing right there at the post office in Main Street.
That would be a blessing.
And then if we can, because the post office has sidewalks in front of it.
Yeah.
If we can tee off of the sidewalks on either side of the post office and go in that direction, when we eventually get uptown put together, we could have sidewalks that lead up there.
All the way into town.
All the way into.
Well, I think you're going to want to parallel all your roads at some point with some sidewalks.
Right.
Once you get something at the Thompson property up here done, and then tie that into the sidewalk at the post office, coming back down towards
Right.
You're going to want to do all that. I thought about running one from Polly's house up 54 to church.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the idea of making loops where people can walk.
Yeah.
Which way was that, Tom?
From your house down up next to the Richards, down
Down that side
to
of the
Church
road.
Street.
Well, the other way leads to town, though.
On
That's where
54?
most
I know,
people
but I'm
walk.
just saying eventually, you know, at some point in time, you know, have one there that where you can, you know, where you can have a circuit you can walk.
Oh, yeah.
And eventually, and two, with it being on state highways, we may be able to pull some funding from DOT. It's gonna be a lot more work as far as easements and access and design, but if we can pull some funding from DOT, that
I tell you
would also
what.
help.
And I can't go through a meeting like this without making one comment that people think's a joke, but this ain't no joke. You build yourself a crossing right there from Polly's house over to the post office,
Mhm.
and then what you do is you have the church come in here and have them cross on a Saturday afternoon, have them cross every 5 minutes or 4 minutes. And it'll stop traffic better than a stop sign.
Yes, it will. It'll
You
slow them down right there.
They'll have to,
Mhm.
because they gotta stop them until people get across.
Why would we put our
I watched the bus.
congregation in jeopardy like that?
Pardon me?
Why would you want to put our congregation in jeopardy like that?
They wouldn't be from my church, they'd be from Blues Church.
I know, that's my church.
No, it would be big flashy lights and there'd be signs and everything.
Okay.
Tom will lead them. Tom's leading the procession.
Okay.
Like Moses.
Okay.
But the idea is that if you get a pedestrian in the crosswalk, it's a stop sign. And I would just think that'd be a great way to slow things down.
I watched today that bus coming in comes that turn, turns on Main, and goes back north. Wait and wait and wait and wait to get out. And I believe it was a high school bus. I know the elementary used to, I haven't seen it lately, but it never got out. And when cars coming around that curve, they get on your tail really
Yeah,
quick.
they do. Yeah.
Around the curve coming south from
Coming
the
from the
traffic
Baptist
circle.
church, if you pull out on Main, even if you look and it looks far away, if you don't really step on the
Scoot.
gas, they go be on your rear end before you know it. You
Yeah.
can't judge it and they come fast.
Yeah, but you're out there and you're ahead of them, if they hit you, it's their problem.
I don't wanna get hit.
Along these same
Oh,
lines.
you might get dead.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I got turned the wrong way.
There's no reason to even broach this subject, but I noticed today when I was coming up, I rode around looking at stuff. And I came up from the traffic light at McIntosh,
Mhm.
came up 154, and as I climbed the hill to Stan's house, I saw about where that road would come in, if we teed it.
Mhm. Mhm.
If you're at that tee, and you're gonna go to the right,
Mhm.
you can't see to the left, because the further you go to the east, the further you drop.
Interesting.
So just look at it. In other words, when you cross
I know what you're
Tarrentine,
talking about.
when you cross Tarrentine on 154, it drops like that down,
Yep.
down in there.
Yep, and the roadbed is here, and the bank is starting to go right there, and that's the bank that backs up and gets so overgrown. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, the eggheads will figure all that out. They'll do the sight lines and adjust it.
Oh, they'll have to do a hell of a
Square it away.
grade.
Yeah. Well, the other option is to shave that whole hill down.
I was thinking they'd probably
Yeah.
shave the hill and bring Tarrentine down to come into it.
Yeah, but see, if they drop Tarrentine down and to the east, it'll be bringing Tarrentine in down the hill.
If they take that crest of that hill out from Stan's house, if they flatten it out.
They're trying to avoid that. They would prefer not to do that.
Well,
At least an off-the-cuff conversation several years ago, they would.
You know, another off-the-cuff conversation I've had with some people. Somebody said, "Why don't you just make it a three-way stop?" Make it a three-way
Hill
stop.
down here, like, were you here when they did that,
Mhm.
Tom? That made a gigantic difference.
Where was this?
Up there at the high school, it used to be.
Oh, yeah.
I
It
forget
used
how
to
it
just
was,
be,
but that made a
Mhm.
huge
It
difference.
used to cross traffic didn't stop, did it?
I can't remember which way it went. I think
Oh, really?
it was,
154 stop going south?
Mhm.
No kidding.
but now, and it made, I mean,
Mhm.
you probably remember it. It made
Yeah,
a
I did
huge
too. Yeah, it
difference.
did. Yeah.
Huge difference.
Mhm.
And you
Yeah,
wouldn't
because
think-
they should-
that was the dead right an illustration from my driver's ed when my parents taught me, okay, you pull out right here, you're going to be right, but you're also going to be dead. Because you would pull out
Yeah.
the TIA, the cross traffic did never stop. It may have stopped over here, but this going across here, it didn't stop.
Interesting.
I said, I wonder if they could.
What, do a three-way
Three-way
stop?
stop.
Why not? I tell you, we need to address it, we need to
Mud
address it sometime pretty fast,
Mud
because
cover.
you're gonna have 630 families down there, and every family has 2.3 cars.
Mhm.
And half of them will be coming up McIntosh up 154, the other half will be going back down towards Sam's that way. Entering out down there and then turning up Sullivan. But it's, Tarrentine's not gonna be, a turn-off Tarrentine's not gonna be tenable without it.
So, Floyd, can you make a note for me to reach out to DOT next week? Just remind me, check with me, make sure I did it, because that's going to be a DOT conversation. We can probably, what's going to happen, it's going to be a complete DOT conversation, because that's 154, State Highway.
I got another question.
Sure.
That curve at Tarrentine that enters 154 is right at the very end. Is there room enough to straighten out Tarrentine?
Well, that's what we talked about.
Not without getting a little bit of right of way from the property owner right
Yeah.
there.
You took, with that, the curve you're talking about is where we were talking about teeing it
Yeah.
off.
Then it's going to Stan's house.
Yeah.
Tarrentine goes pretty straight, and then it turns there right at the end. If it just went straight, it would be a direct
That's what he was
entry, would
talking.
be a lot safer.
That's what he was talking about at first, as far as having to drop the grade of it. Because if you straighten it out, it goes down a hill
My
like
concern is,
that.
that unless you do anything massive with the engineering and the grading, that if you make Tarrentine go straight right there, it's going to take it further down to the east, which is down the hill, which means when you get to the intersection, the new intersection, you look back to the left, you can't see anything.
Mhm.
You can't see a car coming from the high school.
Yeah.
Yep.
At the same time, you talked to them about the possibility of making a three-way stop there.
Mhm.
Bring up dropping 16 to 45. And bring up a bunch of stuff that they can tell you no on, so they'll let you have that three-way stop. That's how you do
Okay.
it.
Yeah, no, we laugh, but you're absolutely correct. I will do that. And I want to say that I have sent an email this year about reducing the speed already. But I'll go back and look. I know I've sent one in the last 6 months.
If they would do that up at the high school, at the intersection of Old 16 and 154, why wouldn't they do it at Tarrentine? 'Cause Tarrentine is just, that's Old 16.
Mhm. Yeah.
Isn't it? Doesn't that road, didn't Old
Yeah, I
16
think so.
Old
I think it
16
would have been.
That's why it's curved right there.
Mhm.
That
Because
was
it
Old
would
16.
have taken that gradual curve before 154 came down and connected them. Yeah, I bet you're right. Okay. Anything else on sidewalks?
Well, like I said, we talked about, having them grow out,
Mhm.
from the center of town. And, the logical thing would be to run them where you got people, and you got
Yep.
people up to Polly's house.
Yep. And we
You got
people
two
coming back
businesses
and
up
forth.
there,
Mhm.
and she's seeing pedestrians up there, people walking.
And I want to say there's more sidewalk on the north side of the street than there is on the south side of the street. So it'd be on Polly's side of Main Street as to where it would be.
What do you
Possibly.
think about that?
I like the sidewalk anyway. Of course, I'd like it more convenient to me.
Okay.
But I mean, there just needs to be some, even then, the people, most of the residents live on my side.
Mhm.
The
True.
others are businesses. That's why I was thinking the
Yep.
the other side where the people would be more likely
Mhm.
coming out of their own houses
Right.
as opposed to crossing the street.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I'd have no problem at all crossing the street, down there and to get on the sidewalk. If I'm gonna have to, right now, I'm walking on dirt, like it.
Yeah.
or
To the
more.
grass.
I'm trying to think
Asphalt.
how many other state highways have a crosswalk though?
Quite a few.
Do there really?
Mm-hmm. But it just depends on how much signage and warnings you have to do before you get to it.
You're talking about right there, you're talking about between Polly's house and the library? I mean, the
Right.
Polly's house and the post office?
I'm just, in general, I'm trying to picture how many other state highways have,
I've seen a couple.
crosswalks just kind of out like, oh, all of a sudden, here's a crosswalk.
Well, but you're coming up on a downtown area though.
Yeah.
So.
I think you'd be surprised how many there are.
Mm-hmm.
I really would.
I've seen a couple around here, and I thought, oh, that'd look, real good at post office or wherever.
But you know, you keep talking about state highways. The state highways runs right slap through the middle of Newman. 34, 16, they run
Yeah, but
right
that's
downtown.
But at the same time, that's a densely developed downtown
With traffic
corridor.
lights.
Yeah, but it's still a highway.
Right. But it's a material difference between a wooded rural two-lane highway than a. But I see what you're saying. They do have the accommodations for it. Okay.
But as far as the sidewalks go, you know, we need to come to grips with whether we're gonna just have them grow on themselves and expand, as opposed to running one to nowhere.
I'd almost rather, well, unless there's something along the path to nowhere. I don't mind having one just randomly appear, but there needs to be the traffic along it, you know?
Yeah.
But I would prefer to see them grow from what we've got. Just
One or
personally.
two, and I think going up Main Street towards Polly's house and towards the post office would be a lot more logical than running one down to my house that goes nowhere.
Right.
Even though I could jump on it and, go down to the library.
Yeah.
I'd rather be able to go down there, leave here and walk across to the post office.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm thinking as an old man.
Well, I mean, gotta have something for everybody.
My granddaughters don't know how to ride a bicycle.
Really?
Well, where are they going to do it? They can't go in the streets.
Yeah.
They ride horses. Matter of fact, they won both of them. They won first and second overall in their first horse show.
Hey, how about that? Congratulations.
I think they between the two of them, they got 14 ribbons in 2 days.
Where do they take classes?
At a farm over off of Ebenezer Church Road in Fayetteville.
Oh, neat.
Yeah. They're funny looking. I mean, they're into it. They really are. They've got jumps they have out in the yard, and they run around and jump and
Yeah, my
train.
granddaughter did that, and my great-granddaughter did that briefly.
Yeah, that's cool. But they can't ride a bike because they got nowhere to go. There's no sidewalk for them to get on.
Yeah.
And I'm, sure as hell not going to turn them loose on Tarrentine, even after the speed bumps.
No. Okay. The next thing on our agenda is a grant that came across our desks earlier in the month. This is the Rural Downtown Development Grant Program. And basically what it is the legislature approved some money, or gave some money to DCA to be spent to redevelop rural downtowns. There are several scenarios in which this grant can be used. The maximum is $5 million. The floor is $1 million. I think that we may be able to submit the municipal renovation project that we have kind of bounced around, but we will need to get council together to really talk out the plan and see exactly what we want, what it could be, what it is. But this is a grant that we may apply for.
When you say the plans for, what you mean, renovating this or the back lot?
Renovating the Arbor Valley structure,
Okay.
the warehouse and all of that over there. There would be some upgrades probably to this as well as part of that, but no, it would be to design and renovate that 2 or 3 story structure over there.
Mary and I talked about that as well, and she pointed out that $1 million ain't gonna go very far.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get much at all for $1 million.
Yeah, because you're probably looking at least $300,000 in design costs, another 3 to 5 in underground stuff, and then you start building up. So yeah, you're right. It's going to be.
Yeah, she does these bathrooms and kitchens, and it's $100,000. Bathroom and kitchen, $100,000, and then, but you talk about the scope of what you're talking about, and just making what you got pretty costs you $1 million.
Yep. But this is something that I want to have some additional conversations with the DCA on, get their feel for it, because
you got to have a specific plan, right? And what strings are attached? They usually
to be determined.
Well, they talk about, well, it has to, it has to complement DCA's you know, agenda and all that kind
Oh,
of stuff?
no, it won't be any, no, there's no agendas or anything like that attached.
I don't mean agenda in a bad way, I mean. just
Okay,
what
okay,
their-
oh, yeah.
I mean, if their plans are to, you know.
I mean, there's nothing really egregious that stuck out to me in reading it, you know, there's no weird, requirements or anything unusual, it's just, they got a bunch of money they wanna put out, and I appreciate the fact that they're trying to do those in rural downtowns.
Are we rural?
Yes and no. We are rural for population density inside the city, but we are not rural when it comes to median income and median demographics. So we are rural when it comes to density, and that's with rural development.
Well, you're rural according to the county, because they've got you in a rural area for, remember those, the big studies they did back a year ago?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that one. So this is,
Would that preclude you from getting money from the feds?
typically, yes, it would. But typically,
See, I'd
yes,
rather-
it would. Yeah, it would.
Instead of getting money to revitalize an area, I'd rather have federal money and put it in the sewer.
Yes.
Because I really do believe that if you build it, they will come.
The applications that we submitted to the senator's office were ranked with sewer 1. I forget which is 2 and 3. I think municipal was 2 and the transportation was 3. But no, sewer is our main push right
Yeah,
now.
you're talking about the expensive things. If we go in here and put acceleration lanes and turn lanes in anticipation of buildings being, or, you know, businesses being at certain spots, that's multi-million. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
the transportation request was 12 million, so we'd have that to work with, but
Build an airport,
no,
helipad,
but we could.
yeah, train station.
We could have the only helipad-enabled resident subdivision in the county. Probably not. But
No, probably not, because you got a flying,
Probably not.
you got a flying community down below Sonoya.
Big
Yeah.
team, they got all.
Well, but do they have helicopters or they just have a runway?
You can land a helicopter
On a runway?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it's not a helipad, it's a runway.
Get you some, if you got a flying there in your helicopter, it sends you a car ahead of time with some spray paint, put H on your
I was
car.
just gonna say, I will build you one for a whole lot less than $12 million.
All right.
I'll take the paint and go out and just line it all out, put a nice pretty
Sketch
beach
it.
out there.
Do it around like that.
Hey, the hospital's got a helipad, we'll use it.
Yeah. So that's the update on the downtown grant program. Like I said, it's less than 50%, I would think, on that one. It's just,
You mean your chances?
yeah, yeah. But at the same time, though, we are looking at them, we're preparing for them, and at some point, the right grant will come along and we'll be able to pull the funds down.
I think if you get a sewer line in here, get sewer set up in here, your chances of then coming in 6 months later, a year later with something like this, that's when you're gonna get it.
Absolutely.
Because you got some, I mean, they can't put stuff in where there's no toilet.
Right.
So, kind of in relation to that, what's going on with the proposed coffee shop here? I noticed they started adding the porch deck and all that kind of stuff, but nothing has, I haven't heard anything else about it.
We haven't had any updates either.
Okay.
Is that what the one that's got the new porch on it? It's gonna be that's neat.
But hopefully, yes, ma'am. We're very hopeful that everything will work out and they're able to put it in there. Floyd, you want to give the ARPA update?
Well, sure. Well, we had to submit no need to turn that on to me. We had to submit the ARPA requirements. That has been done. In fact, we just received a reminder to all those who haven't done it, and I was glad to say that doesn't apply to us. So it's done. I did talk to GMA. GMA is starting to stress that we really should start thinking about how we want to spend our ARPA funds. With the expenditures that are going on out of this country going to Ukraine, for instance, there is some initiative out there to try to take funds that have not been allocated and bring them back in order to fund these other issues that the feds are working with. So GMA is starting to say if we want to act on it, we should go ahead and act.
They better hurry.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Because the Russians are
Yeah.
gonna act a lot quicker than municipalities in Georgia.
In fact, I will tell you that part of the way they said this is that that initiative was already started, and they said that the senators, the federal senators, are the ones who backed it down and said the money was already given out with promise. That they're only holding that back. They don't know how long it's going to last.
Okay, I hadn't heard that yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's Terrell and Becky, Terrell Jacobs and Becky Taylor both saying that.
So,
Remind me, that ARPA funds, that's your street mileage funds?
no, sir. The ARPA funds is the American Rescue Plan Act funds. It's the $134,000 that we've received 60,000. We've got another 60 that'll come in. And water and wastewater is where that can kind of be keyed in on. My priorities for that is I'd like to put the majority of it, at least $100,000 towards sewer, and then 10,000 maybe towards the library, 10,000 here, and then I'd like to do 10,000 for I would like to do something for the employees out of some of that. I don't know that we can do the full 10,000 because of the formulas that other places have used to do employee bonuses, but I'd like to do something for the employees. And we have until 2026, theoretically, to spend it.
I believe that the answer is we have to have a decision by December 31 of 24.
Okay.
Okay,
no.
I think that's it, but yes, 26 would be when it has to all be spent or money returned.
It has to be obligated by 24 and expended by 26.
Yes, that's how I recall it.
Okay. And of course, ideally, what we could do is within the next 6 to 9 months, 9 to 12 months, is go out and get either a sewer grant or a sewer loan, and then use the ARPA funds if it's allowed as a matching, as the town's contribution towards the project. So we would just put that money into the sewer, water, wastewater project, whichever flavor we decide to go with.
Bad choice of words.
Correct.
You want to put,
I'm just going to stop.
I don't want to use the word flavor with sewer in the same.
So that's where we are with ARPA.
Do you want to have Mary come in and sit there and talk to you? Or do you want to talk to the group?
No, honestly, there's...
It's easy. It's not like MVTV. It's,
right. Yeah. Absolutely. No. Just honestly, just have her do her designs and her colors and bring them to everybody and say, "What do y'all think?" Because I don't know. Look, I can't even match my shirts with my socks sometimes. I can't even. I won't be able to add anything to that conversation.
Those are supposed to match?
That's sometimes. I mean, if you're styling, they do.
Heard
Once upon a time, I did.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
it's been a
that's the
while.
rumor.
So, but yeah, just have her come up and do her renderings and her color choices, and
well, that's my point. She doesn't render. She says, "Here's your choices. Which one you want?" I'm busy. I gotta go. She's Elizabeth's mother. Okay. All right. I'll have her. She's already got 2 of us that are pretty easy. She can grab hold of you.
Yep.
All right.
All right. Anything else? Anything from the public? Anything else from staff?
Yes, sir.
Anything else from council?
What about the springtime? You were talking about having some music in the park and things like that, because City of Turin is contacting me about doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be having a concert on the green at our church here in the fall.
Ooh, cool. Okay.
So we got entertainment coming to the area, but I didn't know what's...
So back parking lot update, we cannot find pipe. They cannot get pipe from anywhere. Any pipe that they can get is back ordered, in the way, on the way, not here, not there, and that's really what we're waiting on. So I don't want to say that we're indefinite as to when the back parking lot is going to get started and done, but they don't have a firm date. And it's not just our project, it's several other county projects that are going on. So I can't really answer your question until I can get a good answer as to when we're going to get the back parking lot done, because any stuff like that, would want 30, 60, 90 days lead up to it. And until I know a better time on the parking lot, it's just real hard for me to do it. And honestly, that's why the market hadn't occurred yet. And I just, that bothered, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I cannot, I wish that we'd been able to.
The market and everything was working just fine, the parking lot.
I know, but we didn't know when the construction was gonna start. And we didn't want to go ahead and get all the vendors lined up and dedicated for a weekend, and then with a week's or even less than a week's notice, oh, nope, we're tearing up the parking lot, and we're closed for 2 to 3
I think they
weeks.
would rather have some weekends of being
I-
able to sell versus.
Correct, no, and no,
weekends.
I agree, but however, hindsight's 2020, you know,
No, it's 2020.
so 2022 as well.
We need to address that Beckham house too. I mean, one of the,
Yes,
we talked
yes,
back and
yep,
forth
yep,
about
yep,
it.
yes, yeah, no, yeah.
One of the things that's key to it, we need to get somebody that knows something about construction to look at it and say, okay, you can fix it, you can't fix it.
Mhm.
If you can fix it, it's gonna cost you X.
Is that this one here?
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. Yeah, I've got someone coming out to retack the gutters in, to kind of neaten it up a little bit and get the water away from the base of it. He should be here middle of the week, this week.
But you need somebody to look at it, a structural
Yeah.
engineer to look at it. I mean, spend a little bit of money, but do it right.
Yeah. Yep.
Because that might be what your decision is, not what you want to do with it.
Mhm.
But your decision may be made is whether I should physically do it, you know, for a reasonable amount of money.
Do y'all know any contractors that could come in and give us those, just give us an eyeball on it?
I can ask.
Because that's really what I need. If we just have the names and the people that we can call, we can peel a staff member off and have them do that and get them out there. It's just a matter of getting it and gathering the
Yeah,
information.
I think I can do that.
Okay.
I can find somebody. Worst case, I come back to you in a week and say I can't.
Right, absolutely. Okay. All right, anything else? Okay. I will call for an adjournment. Thank y'all.